Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Tuplex, back here on Felsbrunn farm, and our crops are ready to be harvested. So we've got barley on fields 20 and 11, and then we have soybeans on field 13. So let's get started. This is one day after the last episode ended. I went through the night to wait for the crops to grow. While I was doing that, the weeds sprouted up, so I sprayed the fields to remove the weeds, and now they're ready to harvest. So let's get our harvester out of our nice new garage. I'm using the Xbox controller again today. The thought of setting up my wheel and pedals didn't appeal to me very much, so we're going to use this for now. Actually, let's open all of these because we're going to need to get everything out. Whoops. Lovely. And I'm looking forward to using my new case tractor. Not that soon. Let's get in the harvester. Now, one thing I want to try, it's a little bit tight there. One thing I want to try is let me turn this off for a little bit. If we look at our vehicles in this menu, we can see the repair state. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it looks like my harvester is fully repaired, so we won't be able to test it this time. One of the things I wanted to do is I heard that as your state of repair goes down on the cutter or on the header of the harvester, that the harvesting efficiency would decrease. And essentially that would just mean that you get less yield from your crop if things are not maintained. What I wasn't sure about, though, is whether that penalty takes effect when the repair level gets to 0, or if there's some number above 0 where you start to lose effectiveness or efficiency, productivity, I guess it would be in this case. So I was going to do a little test, but I think we're going to have to wait. All right. Yeah, I want the straw swath on this time, so I'm going to enable that. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to collect the straw, but I'd at least like to have the option. I may, depending on what we do next, we may want some straw. So let's see. I'm just going to get a worker started on this while we get our tipper out. Hopefully you've noticed an increase in the quality of the video since yesterday's episode. One of the commenters had pointed out that there was a lot of artifacts on the video, and I took a look, and yeah, there absolutely were. And I found out that my bitrate settings were a little bit too low. Well, not a little bit too low, they were a lot too low. So I made some adjustments there, and hopefully you all can see that in the quality of the video. I also have ordered a new graphics card, which will be arriving in a couple of days. So hopefully we'll be seeing some further increases as a result of that as well. Okay. And I'm using the case on karting duty this time because you'll probably remember that the New Holland was struggling a bit to pull this trailer. I don't expect that there's a lot to unload yet. Oh. Okay. So we'll turn him off. And then I'll fire the worker and I'll drive the harvester myself for a while. Get ourselves lined up here. Still getting accustomed to this controller, as you can see. Right. So here's one of the big advantages of head tracking over just using a stick to control your view. You can move your point of view off to the side like this. Which can really help a lot when you're doing field work. All right, let's see. Raise. Yeah, nice. I'm getting it. All right, so now instead of going right next to it, I'll come down the field a bit so that we don't have to try to... so it makes it easier to turn around. I might not go perfectly straight this time, but we'll see. Well, you know what? I can go straight well enough. I'm just not sure if I'm going perpendicular to the edge of the field and parallel with our previous pass. A few episodes ago, someone commented and gave me the good advice that to go in a straight line, just pick out a point out in the distance and focus on it while you're driving. And that helps you go in a straight line. Yeah, see? So I went straight, but not at the correct angle. Yeah, I think this game is graphically fairly demanding, especially at high settings, and I think it's just the fact of rendering all these small details, you know, all the individual stalks of grain and the grass and all that stuff. Seems like that is gives the graphics card a lot of work. That's why I decided to upgrade. I have a 1440p monitor, and of course it looks best when you're running at native resolution. So with that resolution, trying to get frame rates at or above 60 is a bit of a challenge with my GTX 980, which is now several generations old. It was pretty awesome when I got it, but it's been a couple years, and I really haven't done anything with my PC aside from just adding a couple of hard drives to it. That was one thing that I did to help with the recording, was to I run on 3 different drives now. So I've got I've got an SSD for the operating system. You know, that's my C drive. And then I have my games installed on another drive. And then when I'm recording the video onto a third drive. So that way none of the drives have to compete for resources, or the functions don't have to compete for resources, I should say. Okay, so we're nearly full. I think I'm going to put the pipe out if I can remember how. No. There we go. Wow. I'm surprised that I remembered that. All right, and I'll pull out a bit so that I have a clear path without having to run over my crop. Okay, and while that's emptying, let's check the state of our field here. Okay, good. Doesn't need plowing and it doesn't need lime. So this field at least will be ready to go as soon as we're done harvesting. I think we can do another harvest before we have to put down lime again. I think this will be the second of 3. Yeah, this is much easier to pull this trailer around. Okay, and that was, yeah, left button down. All right, so I'll get this bit cleaned up, and then I think I'm gonna go 90 degrees across the top here so that the harvester can turn around on flat ground with no trees. And then we'll head across the street to do the other field. And then I want to start thinking about what the next step is going to be here. I think we'll be getting a decent amount of money from this harvest. So we could consider doing a few things. We could look at buying another field. Although I'm thinking it would be nice to have some other activity so that we're just not doing the same thing over and over and over again. Which is why I'm thinking about animals. And then the choice there, I'm not terribly interested in chickens or pigs. So the choices would be sheep, cows, or horses. At least in previous versions of the game, I think that I really enjoyed doing cows. That does take some money to get started up, of course. Sheep are nice too. They're fairly easy. All you need is grass and water. I think they might take straw in this version of the game too. I'm not sure. But essentially you can just feed them grass and they'll start making wool. Let me get this little bit down here too. Okay. But I've never done horses, so maybe that would be fun to do. Although I understand that you have to ride them every day, which I don't know. I don't know if that sounds all that interesting, to be honest. All right. Let's get a worker to take this over. Nope. Let's try again. I'm just making a mess with the straw in this field. Let me get lined up properly. That's better. Okay. Actually, I think I want the... No. We can use this menu to look at the help here. I think there ought to be something about the animals. Okay, so horses take hay and oats. So we would need grass. You know, and I'm thinking that when we do one of these animals, we'll just plant this field with grass. And then we can use that to make hay. Oats is easy enough. We just grow that on one of the fields as a crop. And then we can collect straw from the oats as well. I think the horses also need straw, and of course they need water. All the animals need water except chickens. Pigs, pigs I don't really want to do. Cows, grass, hay, silage, and TMR. Now the nice thing about cows is you can get a fairly decent yield out of them. I think you can get up to 75% yield without giving them mixed ration, just by giving them hay and water. The mixed ration we would need to make silage for. That takes a little bit of time. And then they need straw as well. And in fact, even just with grass and water, they can get, with grass, water, and straw, they can get up to, I think, 23%, 25%, something like that. And then sheep, grass, and hay. I mean, I think they take either or. And then they need water. And again, they may need straw as well. I'm not sure if they need straw in this game. I wonder if it says anything about straw here. Yeah, it doesn't say. Well, it says use it as bedding for cows, but it's also used as bedding for pigs. And I believe horses as well. So, okay, we need to pick up. And did I luck out with the pipe? I think I may have. Yeah, all right. It's on the side that we want it to be. All right, I'll just, sometimes I'll move back and forwards while we're unloading, just to load the trailer evenly. I don't know if that makes any difference in the game, but it seems like that's the right thing to do. Yeah, I doubt it does. I'm sure the game's not calculating the center of gravity of the trailer every time you put stuff in it. Actually, you'd probably want to put most of the weight over the middle of those three axles. Okay, let's turn that off, and then let's look at the cost of the placeables for these animals. Okay, so the smallest cows would be 100,000. That'll hold up to 50 cows, which I think that would take a lot of work to keep 50 cows fed, so that would probably be good for a while. The horse paddock's only 50. That'll take up to 8 horses. Fully trained horses sell for 50,000, which would be 400 grand. I don't recall how many days it takes to fully train a horse, but that's not bad. 50,000 to get 400 grand every once in a while. You could pay that back pretty quickly, I think. And then the large one will take 16 horses. Pigs we're not going to do. And then for sheep, 65. And we can fit 80 sheep in the small one. All right, so I think we're not going to do cows yet. Let's take a look at horses. Okay, yeah, I know I don't have enough money. I just want to look at it. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to need to take out a loan to look at it. I just want to see if it's how it's going to fit on this field. So let's see if I can borrow. Oh, crap. All right. I can't borrow 50,000. Tapped out. That damn tractor. Okay. Well, anyway, what I'm thinking is that we could put the horse paddock here on this section of the field, and then we can plant grass on this field. When you plant grass on a field, you can fertilize it, so you get more of it. We could use that to make hay for the horses, and then over on field 11, we can grow oats when they need it, and get straw if they need it. And it might not be a bad little way to set up, assuming that that $50,000 horse paddock is going to fit in this area, which, based on my experience with this game so far, is very much in doubt. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do, and maybe I can do that now while we're doing that harvest, is I wanted to sell that subsoiler. Simply because I don't really have much need for it. I'm not going to need to plow again unless I either buy another field or start growing crops that require plowing, like corn. But I don't have any plans to do that. So I think I'd rather just sell it. That'll give us a few more bucks than we have currently. All right, so let's lower it, and then detach it. Yeah, I think that's how you might do it. And then turn the lights off. And we'll take this over to the shop and sell it there so we get the best price for it. I did replace my controller because you may recall that I mentioned that the one that I had before was pulling to the right. So I took it back and got another one, and the new one has exactly the same issue. So I've had to increase the dead zone a bit, and that makes the steering a little bit abrupt, like you see here. And when the steering gets like that, then you wonder why not just use the keyboard to steer. Okay, let's detach that. Okay, let's repair it first. And sell. Okay, 8,000 bucks. That helps. And I think that'll give me enough to pretend that I'm going to buy the horse paddock. The ultimate buying decision will depend on what we get from this crop. And actually, now that I think about it, maybe I should buy another field. Maybe I should buy another field and the horse paddock. Because when you own more land, you can take out a bigger loan. And what kind of farmer would I be if I didn't have crippling debt? I'm just kidding. I didn't mean to offend any farmers, but at least here in the States, we hear a lot about farmers having to go into debt to keep their operations afloat and having problems with the banks. So let's see. Okay, now lower and no, and detach. There we go. Okay, we're done on this field. So let me unload before we head over to the next one. Okay, so now that the straw's on the field, one thing I was thinking is we could bale it and then sell the bales, and it would probably give us some more money, and it would also be an activity that I haven't done yet. So we'll take a look at that. Although I think, given the current state of my finances, I think I would have to lease the equipment to do it. Okay, so we'll come over here, and I'm just going to hire a worker straight away. And we'll take a look at the horse paddock if we can. Yeah, and actually I'm going to... No. Oh, that's how you turn the beacons on. No. All right. How do you do the... I want to disable the swath. I don't want that much straw. Well... No, let's do it. Because if I'm going to lease equipment to gather straw, I'm going to want to do as much as I can to make sure I get a profit out of it. Okay. And then this guy will move over to the other field as well. Excuse me. See, he's got a stop sign, and I don't think he was even thinking about stopping. All right. See if we can get over 50. There we go. Just barely. Okay. And I'm not actually going to buy it. I just want to see how well it fits. My goodness, that's much bigger than I expected. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, that would fit. That would fit pretty well. You know, it's just the usual struggle of trying to find a place where it actually turns green. It collides with an object. What object? Okay, hang on a second. Let's go back. Turn on my help menu, and then let's do that again. All right. This part is a lot easier with the keyboard and mouse, I think. Okay, if we get it as low as we can. What is it colliding with? Okay, no, that's as high as it'll go. Jeez. Okay, so it could go right here. Yeah, I think it's a matter of finding just the exact height. Okay, so it could go here. That's not a bad place for it. All right. Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll do horses. First, we'll get through this crop. I'm fairly certain that we'll get enough money from this crop to pay for the horses without having to go too much further into debt. Let's look at our prices, actually. So the price on barley, okay, around 500. And how much do I have so far? 13,000. Yeah, so we'll probably get, I'm going to guess around 50,000 liters. So we should get about 25 grand, perhaps more, from the barley, and probably twice that much from the soybeans. So we're probably looking at getting $80,000, and that should give us enough to get the paddock. Well, no, we might still be short because we'll need a mower and a tedder, and then we need some way to pick it up, which means either a loading wagon or a baler. And both of those we're looking at around $50,000 for the cheapest option. So we might have to do this in stages. But if that's the case, we could always buy the baler now and use that to collect the straw, since we're thinking of doing that anyway. So we'll see if there's some way to work that out. So in the meantime, I will keep working on this harvest. I'll get this field done and see if we can get the soybeans started. I'll sell this crop in the next episode so you can see how much we get, and then we'll take it from there. So thanks a lot for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.